Doo-doo, doo-doo. That's the angle.
Ooh, what?
Doo-doo. That's the podcast.
All right. Make sure What's up, guys? Welcome back to That's the Angle. I am joined here with a longtime friend that I've been dying to catch up with, Sabrina, aka MAADGRRL, if you know her, in the music industry, EDM scene, all of that awesome stuff. How are you doing?
I am hanging in there as much as, can with everything going on.
Right before we started recording, you were saying that EDC tried interviewing you right before you went on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. They did. Well, they did. They didn't try. They did. Well, they told me they gave me time slots before the festival. Hey, we'd love to interview you. We have these times available. Which one works best for you? And I was like, I think I picked a later time. I was like, oh yeah, after my set, obviously, because my first EDC that I was playing. I played festivals before that, bigger festivals, but that's the biggest festival that.
EDC is the pinnacle of festivals to play. Yeah,
especially in dance music. I was like, oh yeah, let me do it after my set when I'm not all fucking freaking out and nervous before. So I'm pretty sure I picked a later time. And then last minute, they're like, oh my God, we're so sorry. We have to switch it to this time. And I was like, okay. So it was literally it was so fucked because the shuttle from the hotel to EDC, it takes fucking 2 hours, and it's not even that far. It's just traffic and just the logistics getting in. It takes a long time. So right when I got to EDC before my set, it was I got there, got to my trailer, dropped off my shit, went with my tour manager to the stage to talk to the sound guy and talk to the visuals guy, etc. Got a golf cart back to my trailer because it's not just right next door. It's
so you don't walk from the trailer to the stage. You have to take
it's so fucking far. It's so huge. So I had to go back to my trailer. As soon as I got back, I hopped off the golf cart and got on the interview golf cart. Literally took off, did the interview, they dropped me back off at my trailer, went into my trailer, took a couple shots with my friends, and then there was a knock on my door, okay, we're ready. Let's go, we're ready to go on stage. And I was like, fuck, oh my God, it was just the craziest.
Just no time to sort of take shit into okay, we got it. It seems it was just so rushed, literally no time.
It was so insane. It was just the timing, just everything. It was bam, bam, bam. And then all of a sudden, the next thing I know, I'm walking up the stairs to get on stage. And I was just
that feeling right there. Wait, real quick, before you talk about that feeling, do you have a fan on in the background or something?
A fan?
Yeah.
I think it's my computer.
Oh, I can hear the fan of your actual computer. It's okay, don't worry about it. I can edit that out. Anyways, so, dude, you walked on one of the biggest stages in dance music. That feeling is so insane. Literally,
yeah.
I've raved with you and partied with you at concerts, and and just to hear that you moved to LA and that you became the DJ, that is so insane to me. That is so insane to me.
I know. When I talk to people about my journey, I'm just I'm really just a raver. I literally was a raver for years, going to events, and then I started throwing events, and that's how I really got my hands in the industry. But I was always been just a straight raver.
I'm when I saw that on your Instagram, I was so happy for you because I've been following you for, just so people can have context, and plus me and you, we've been friends since 2012, 2011. Even we go back to
we were friends before that.
Oh, we knew in hometowns.
Yeah, well, it wasn't my hometown, but we knew each other when we were in high school through the internet.
You're right. On the emo MySpace days. You don't look much different.
I know. Everyone tells me that. They're oh wow, you haven't changed.
Keeping it consistent, hey.
But yeah, no, we knew each other back in high school.
That's yeah. I didn't think about that. I was thinking just the Norfolk times when you were literally the first person to bring me out to shows and to raves and to just.
That's because I knew you from Woodbridge.
Mm-hmm.
I knew you were from Northern Virginia. I think that's how we connected. We didn't know each other that well. I think we hung out like maybe a couple of times, maybe with like a group of friends. Who were you friends with?
It was just like friends of friends because it was like different high schools, but we knew of each other because we were both like cool on the internet and kind of in like the scene crew, like going to Warped Tour and like going to shows. But even back then, you were going to so many shows.
I know, dude. I was going to so many shows, like so many like emo shows. Like I don't even know. That wasn't my money. That was my parents' money too. Like they like
All of us.
funded. Like, can I have some money to go to this show? Like so many shows. I don't even know how much money they like gave me to like just go to these concerts. But it was like really eye opening back then though, because that's like my love for live music came like in my teenage years. I've always been like around music. My dad's a DJ as well,
Oh, wow.
so
No way.
I've always been around dance music and like the DJ culture, like my entire life. And growing up, like I played violin, I played guitar, like for like 10 years, and then from there, when I became like older teens, I started going to shows, and like that's where I like fell in love with like live music and like seeing it live and going to shows and stuff.
But yeah, as you're saying, like I had no idea that you grew up with a musical dad and then playing instruments. I'm not gonna lie, I always assumed, as far as I knew you, that you were just like really passionate about music, like as a promoter, as a fan, as a friend of the artist. I never knew it was actually kind of like in your DNA growing up. That's really cool.
Yeah. My dad, he's been a DC teen. He grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and like started spinning vinyl like back then, and would spin at like little clubs and little like bars in Brooklyn and New York, and like started doing that and like never stopped. So that's where I really got my musical like inspiration from, was my dad.
Oh shit, what? That's so, I had you pinned as someone who just was like figured it out, but it's like it's so different when music comes from a younger age than as to try and figure it out when you're older and you're just like, what's theory? What's this? Like what's spinning? What's...
Yeah. Your brain is, when you're young, your brain absorbs music way faster and easier back then at like little clubs and little like, so that's where I really got my here, rather than when you're, I don't know why, it just does, because it's like a suck, like your brain when you're young, when your music just like absorbs to it super fast, and it kind of just stays with you.
Yeah, it's definitely like a sponge back then. It's like, thinking about it, I know you, like when I think of you, I don't think of you from high school days. I think of you from our time in Norfolk together. And I think of you as like a part of the dance scene there and being a promoter and like knowing literally every freaking DJ that came to town. Like you were always really good at knowing them. And I would never have imagined that you would have been playing EDC 8 years later.
Yeah, I don't even know how I guess I just knew the DJs through when I started working in the scene. Like I didn't know them before. Like I was a raver, and then I started working in like promoting shows and throwing shows, and that's how I just like really became friends with the DJs. Especially with like, I was a girl in the music industry, and like being a promoter that's a girl is like not very common. In general, in EDM, like being a girl is not very common. Like in any like position. So I was the girl. I was like really nice, and I wasn't a dick like a lot of promoters are. But I think like I kind of like knew I really wanted to do dance music for like a long time. So in the beginning, I like made sure to like really take care of the artists, like get as much information from them as far as just like knowledge of like the scene, and just like have like real conversations with the artists and like kind of connect with them, because I really wanted to like learn and like be good at what I did.
So you knew back then, like going to Peabody's and all those places, like you kind of knew back then that, or what was that venue in Virginia Beach? Was it Peabody's? That wasn't Peabody's.
Mm-hmm.
It went,
yeah.
You knew then that you kind of wanted to try DJing?
Well, how I actually got into DJing was, so I was obviously throwing the events, and there was just like a really small pool of local DJs that I could choose from for the gigs because the openers are all locals.
Mhm.
And, you know, in Virginia, it's not like EDM back then was just starting to pop off. So like there wasn't that many electronic dance music DJs that knew how to open a night for a big headliner, and B were just EDM DJs in general.
Yeah, that's a big thing. People get up there and start playing some hardwell tracks and thinking they're gonna open like
No, seriously. Or like they would play the headliners tracks.
yeah, like playing some bangers and no warm up, no like low tempo stuff. It was just straight like, oh, I'm an EDM DJ.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, to be fair, like the opening DJ's slot like is the hardest in my opinion, because like the headliner, like whatever, you could fucking play bangers. Wait, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, we can see whatever we want. No big deal.
Okay, I wasn't sure. So the headliner like can play whatever they want. Like everyone's gonna go crazy for the headliner. It doesn't matter what you play, as long as you play, you know, bangers, whatever. Like
yeah,
theoretically. Theoretically.
Yeah. Generally speaking.
Yeah. But like the opener, like you have to like know your craft. You have to like gauge the room. You have to like know what tracks are like good for an opening. Like, so your knowledge in music and dance music has to be like super like, you know, decent, and you really have to know what you're doing. So props to DJs who can open correctly and successfully and, you know, open up the night to set the mood. So, but anyway, so it was just, you know, we just had a small pool of DJs, and it was just like the same DJs like every time. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start DJing, because a lot of these DJs don't know how to open. I was getting in trouble with the tour managers and managers of the headliners because my openers were not, you know, were playing Hardwell at 9 o'clock. So I was just like, yeah, you know, I'm just going to, I'll start opening like a few of these shows. So I started opening, and I was like, wow, I really like this. And then I started doing it more, and then it was like, oh, I'm really good at this. And then I started practicing at home and like going to like having parties with friends. I would like DJ like at the houses and stuff. And it was like, oh, this is like really fun. And then everyone was like, wow, you're like really good. How long have you been DJing? And I was like, oh, like a couple weeks. And they're like, oh, wow, you're really fucking good. So then I was like, oh, okay. So then it kind of just like snowballed and turned into like me actually being a DJ and like playing like supporting slots that, you know, for tours and stuff. And
yeah, I feel like that's so different. Like I feel like it's so different to back then. You could just be a DJ, but then slowly from like 2012 going forward, it was like you had to produce and kind of have like your own brain and going everything like that. At what point did you decide to produce? Because from my perspective, I only saw that when you moved to LA, and I'm curious, like what made you go from Norfolk to LA? Because I remember it was just like a random year. I don't even know if I had moved to Richmond at that point, but you just left. You just went to LA. You were just like, peace out. I'm going to follow some dreams. And then literally, I remember like being at a bar with our mutual friend Amber or someone like that, and just talking about how Sabrina left to LA to become a DJ. And I was skeptical. I'm not gonna lie. I was skeptical. I was like, what?
You're like, oh, wow. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah, in my mind, I was like, oh, she's gonna. But at the same time, you know, in hindsight, you had all the pieces there. Like, you're really good at networking. Like, you know how the scene works. You had opening. So, like, what was the impetus to going to LA? Was it to pursue DJ producing or just DJing, or what was that?
Yeah, so I started producing. So I actually, like the year before, like leading up to me moving to LA, I was like, okay, I know how to DJ really good. If I really want to do this, I need to learn how to produce. And so I enrolled in a music college that was available online, as well as they had campus in Florida. And I started doing that for like a year, and it was just like too fucking slow for me. And like, it was just like, yes. I mean, great school, but like it was just like for me, it was too slow. And I was just like, this isn't for me. Like, I want to go like at my own pace. So I did that for a couple of semesters, and then I stopped. And then when I stopped, I was like, okay, well, I want to like pursue this further, but I'm not really happy here, like with as far as like in Virginia. I was like, I'm not really happy in Virginia as far as like being able to like network further than what the small spurts of shows I would have, and like
And that's so true. Yeah, there was no opportunity really to go up in the DJ producer game there. What, you're gonna headline Peabody's and like that's it, or not even? You would never, because the acts coming through gets that position. So yeah.
So I was like, okay, I need to make a decision because I need to be around other creatives. I need to be where the agents are. I need to be where the managers are. I need to be where the promoters of the scene are. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna move to LA. So I've always wanted to live here, and I've always like visited friends and like would come to shows and stuff, and like literally every night before COVID, every night there's a dance show. Every night there's an EDM show.
It's like the mecca of EDM. I mean, in hindsight, looking at the time of that move, you moved at the sweet spot of EDM, the rise of dance music, and just the overall scene in LA. Like that was perfect timing. Yeah,
the scene in LA when I moved was like fucking popping. Now it's like well, pre-COVID, it's good, but it's not the same how it was like back then. Anyway, so so I moved to LA. I literally sold all of my shit, packed up all like my belongings that I wanted to take in 3 suitcases, and that's it.
Wow.
And then
were you nervous? Like what were you thinking you were going to do when you moved to LA to make money? Like what was your thoughts? Like what was go?
I didn't fucking know, dude. I think I was like 20, how old was I?
21, 22. You were pretty young back then.
No, I was older than that. I was I just turned 24.
Okay.
I mean, it's still fucking young. I'm turning 30 in a few weeks, so.
Yeah, me too. Later this year. Me too. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, we're the same age.
Yeah.
I'm not worried.
I'm a little worried. I don't want to turn 30.
I look fucking great for 30.
You do look great. I mean, look, I think I look great too.
You do too. You do too. But I'm just saying, you're worried.
It's a dirty 30. Yeah, it's a dirty 30. It's like. When I was 16, stone playing video games in my mom's basement, I remember thinking like, oh, when I'm 30, I'm gonna have all my shit together. I'm gonna have a family. I'm gonna be a full grown man. And now I'm about to turn 30. Like, I think I figured it out, but I'm on the way. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when like back then, I feel like too, like people getting married young and like having all that young was like more popular, and like people did that back then, but like 2020, fast forward 2020, that's not the case, especially when you live in bigger cities. Like people are getting married and settling down at like 40, 45. You know what I mean?
I can't believe things have changed that fast since that time. It's like the age of expected having your shit together family has changed since then.
Well, it's not only that, it's the cost of living as well. It's like back then it was a lot easier to have a family and settle down and like get your shit together. Now the cost of living is so much more expensive. Jobs are more competitive. Like it's way different as far as, the economy. Anyways, so what was I saying? I forgot.
About being nervous about what you were going to do in LA to get by and make a living.
Oh yeah. So I don't think I really was that nervous, to be honest. Like I was just like, fuck it, I'll figure it out. Like it's like I always figure it out. So at that point in Virginia, I had been living on my own like since I was like 17, 18. So I'd been living on my own for a minute. But yeah, so I just moved here, and I didn't even no, that's a lie. I had a place set up in Hollywood that I stayed at for like a month or something, and then I had to figure out what I was going to do after that.
So what was the first moves? Did you go straight to the promoters and be like, I want a job? How did that work?
No, that's not how it worked.
Start raging.
I need a slot on your fucking lineup immediately.
I figured you would have just asked for it to be a promoter instead of going straight for the slot.
Yeah. I didn't want to do that route. I didn't want to promote anymore. Yeah. I mean, I loved it. I don't know. Been there, done that. Like, I don't know.
When you got there, was it more competitive, or like what was it when you got there? Was there a lot of other people pursuing the same thing? I've always been curious because that was a move that I contemplated at one point that I didn't do. So I'm just so curious, when you got there, what was it like when you looked at the landscape of DJ producers? What were you thinking? Like, what did it look like?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very competitive here. There's so many people wanting to be a DJ, but I'm a girl. So there's not that many girl DJs who are in the scene. So I did have, a little bit of an advantage, but, yeah, it was, how did I even I don't even really remember. Actually I do. So, I started going to this weekly party called Space Yacht, and you probably might have heard about it. They've done international, or not international, country, over the country, tours, not just in LA, but it's a weekly party here in LA. And when I first started going to these parties is when they first started, and B, when the scene was really popping. So it was a really good time. And it started at a little tiny bar, literally very, very small. But the people who would go to these parties were producers, big producers, big DJs, big managers, big agents, everyone in the industry that wasn't a fan. It was an industry party, but it wasn't promoted like that. It was just the new weekly party in LA that all the industry people went to. And before that, so just a little back history of LA EDM scene. Before that, on Tuesdays there was the DimMac parties. So DimMac Tuesdays is what they were called, and that was Stevie Aoki's thing. That's really what put DimMac on the map, was those DimMac Tuesdays that were going on for years. And DJ AM DJ'd at them, Bloody Beetroots, that whole Blog House era, all those DJs would play at DimMac Tuesdays. So it was Space Yacht was the new DimMac Tuesdays, because it was on Tuesday, and because DimMac Tuesday wasn't. It
was already exploded at that point. It was past its heyday, the DimMac Tuesday.
It wasn't. They stopped doing the DimMac Tuesday. So when Space Yacht came around, it was oh shit, it's a new DimMac Tuesday. So all of the industry people would go, and that's really how I started to meet people, because it was so intimate. Like I was saying, it was at a small little bar, and it was the same people every single Tuesday. So started to meet the same people and grow friendships with them, and I met so many of my really close friends at Space Yacht that I'm still close friends with today. So of course it got bigger, so they had to move locations. They moved to another spot that was still small but a little bigger. And it was there for a year or two, and then it kind of got way bigger. Now it's way bigger. They move it to a huge nightclub. And it's not just industry, it's not really industry people anymore. It's just a lot of people just that love dance music go. Yeah, so the vibe's a lot different.
The fans have come and ruined the vibe. Goddamn. No, I'm just kidding. They're important. They're important. I'm just joking. But.
Yeah, but it's not the same. It's not the intimate scene how it was before. But that's really how I started really networking in the scene here in LA.
Oh, yeah. I always thought of you as a good networker. You're always a good people person. You always really get connecting with people. And I guess that comes from the promoting days or what it comes from, but it clearly worked out. It's funny to think something from Space Yacht and then this, you Sabrina, like a Mad Girl. I almost feel like I can't even call you Sabrina. I have to call you like Mad Girl or something. Like,
Why? You can call me Sabrina.
I know. Is that so funny? That's so cool.
Yeah.
So then what happened? Like, how did you get into producing? Did you just like learn from the people you met at Space Yacht?
Yeah. So, I mean, I was producing before. But when I moved to LA, it's like when you're surrounded by people who are also doing the same thing you're doing, it's like when you meet up with these people, you like take notes from each other, you like show each other your music, you like, it was just like such like a natural like progress. And my first like big, it wasn't like big, but like my first like major thing I did for a release was Ghastly. His team asked me to do a remix for one of his tracks, and we did that. So that was awesome. That was like my first track. That was like
Label?
That was like a big.
Was that like, is that like a label release technically? Is that what that's called?
It wasn't a label release, but it was just like, because I don't think he released on a label. It was a self-release he did, but he did a remix package for it.
Oh, but he still reached out to you. You got that look like that. Hey, like,
yeah.
And you, I don't think you were going by Mad Girl at that point, were you? I remember you had like a different brand or something. Are we allowed to talk about that? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was going under the alias Iris before.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was going under that. I only started MADGRRL at the end of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I started it.
What made you shift the brand like image with that whole thing? What was the thought process there?
So let's see. I mean, it was 4 years like that I was here in LA that I was under that alias, and it was just like I just felt like I needed a change, like where the brand was going, like it wasn't where I wanted to be. Like the project wasn't really picking up. It didn't really have like any substance to it. I feel like I was kind of lost with the project. I didn't really know the direction I wanted to go with it. And so when I created MADGRRL, I like knew the vision. I knew the kind of music I wanted to make. I just knew what I wanted it to be. So when I, started the project, it was like, I just knew like the plan and the brand and just like everything. Like it was just more of like a strategic, just like in my head, like, okay, I have this vision and this is what it's going to be. And like people reacted to it really well. So
yeah, when I saw it, I was like, fuck yes, this is genius. I thought it was so good personally because Iris, when I look at the two different like brands and how they're presented, you're still essentially the same person, same music, but with MADGRRL, it became super cohesive. Like the music really matches the visual brand identity, which is you. You're not any different. I mean,
I know, that's what's cool about it.
Yeah, and it actually has a more like the name has this roots to it that is like it's cool to say. It gives you a vibe of the actual music, and like you led with this really cool sort of like colorful emo anime space goth girl, which I think is super sick. And I'm probably completely wrong there, but that's just who you are. But like, it made a lot of sense. Like the cohesiveness of MADGRRL and just you releasing under that alias. I was like, oh yeah, like this hits. Like this makes a lot of sense. It to me, I was like, good move, Sabrina. Hell yes, that was.
Yeah, and the project actually, MADGRRL is actually like. It's still like has been developing. I mean, it's a fairly new project. Like I said, I launched it at the end of 2018. We're only in the middle of 2020. Like it hasn't been that long. So, I mean, and it has developed since the beginning. Like in the beginning, it was more like angry, like angsty, like a little bit more punk rock. And it still has that, but it's a little bit more cleaner. And the aesthetic is a little bit more like cyberpunk. So it's like the same.
Cyberpunk, there we go. That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. I still have like the like edgy punkiness that I started with the brand, but it's more of just like cyberpunk and like kind of like anime, like just more me. Like I feel very comfortable with where the brand is right now. So
especially when the public receives it really well, and it still has that kind of rock feel to it, and that goes along with like the bass music you make, which is sick as well. But it made a lot of sense. It's just funny to talk about branding as if it's not you, but like you like, examine a brand like oh like this brand, it's some master plan to trick. But no, it's like it's not it. It's just funny to talk about branding because as an artist or creative, you have to be smart and do that for yourself. The same way I do everything I do under That's the Angle, not like Bruce Allen or whatever that is, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, branding is like super important, even though it's kind of like, you know, like it's kind of whatever. Like a lot of people like hate on branding, like, you know, the music is good, it shouldn't matter. Like, well, theoretically, yes, but like in today's age, no. Like the fucking attention span of people who are listening to dance music is literally 0.2 seconds. Like you have to have them like attached and drawn to your
they're literally fast forwarding to the drop half the time, I feel like. But you know, you want to talk about brands, the easiest one is Marshmello. It's one of the craziest, most preposterous brands that anyone can make fun of, but the music's good and it worked. Like from a general perspective, it is successful, and now no one laughs at it anymore.
Yeah, I don't think anyone cares. Everyone's like, oh, well, yep, he makes a lot of money.
But it seems like such like an LA thing to do is to have this sort of like over the top, I guess, brand image, like this really crazy sort of superhero like brand image. Like every DJ producer has to have this really kind of cool image. Almost, I wouldn't say it's like trying to level up each other, but like you see more people with masks, you see more like e-boys, you see more like goth punk rock / new age emo kids. It's just interesting to look at that because is that normal in LA? Just everyone just kind of goes by these MySpace names. Like, do you walk around and people are like, hey, MADGRRL, hey, Ghastly, hey, Shlomo, hey, Keizo, like all that stuff. Like, is that what people do?
Yeah. I mean, when we see each other at parties, I mean, if you know the art, like it's, I mean, for me, it's like, I'm not going to call Ghastly. Yeah. Because I know his name. Or like I'm not gonna call Keizo. I'm gonna call him Hayden because I know him and I know his name. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's not like that, but like I don't know. I mean, everyone in LA is very like fashionable and like everyone here is a creative. That's the thing. It's not like back home in Virginia where, you know, normal, not saying that normal is bad, but just you know, normal office person just working 9 to 5, like
basic ass people.
Being basic is fine if that's wrong. What you like.
If you're happy and basic, power to you.
Yeah, being basic is fine. If you're a Karen, I guess that's fine.
If you're a Karen or a Kevin, hey, do you?
Do you. But like I was saying, everyone here in LA is a creative, so it's just normal over here.
And that's what's beautiful about moving to a place in LA, because while it's competitive, it levels you up. You're now part of this creative ecosystem where everyone's pushing each other to be better, and you grow faster, and I'm sure you start to produce at a lot faster rate. You start to learn faster. Like I'm sure that had a lot of effect on you, just learning these techniques from other people. Yeah,
so that's really how, I mean, and then I got introduced to the Disciple crew, became really, really good friends with them. Like we're like family. So, I mean, they showed me a lot, and just like being around really talented artists that like I could never even like they're like here and I'm like, eh. Like
being in the studio with them, watching them produce.
Just like, well, I wouldn't like go in the studio and collab with them, but like go and like watch, like they'd open up the project files, like, and most of these producers are just making shit out of their room. They're not going to fucking studios. They're just making shit out of their room that they pay $2,000 for their shitty studio in LA, you know?
And that's why dance music is so crazy. Same, I guess you see the same with rap music, but dance music specifically, it's like there's some kid behind his keyboard with Ableton, and the next thing you know, he's playing EDC next year.
No, seriously. Seriously.
That contrast is so insane, but people don't realize that's really what's going on. He's not in the studio like cooking up with the top engineers. It's literally him and a keyboard and some headphones, probably, just because he can't have speakers to annoy his neighbors. He's literally sitting there like, next thing you know, he's going in front of thousands of people.
Yeah, no, for real, that's how it is. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much how it is. And I think I was having this conversation with someone the other day. I can't remember who, but it's just so crazy because a lot of like kids who are in dance music and work in the industry, whether you're a DJ or mostly DJs, but DJs specifically, producers and DJs specifically that are really young are just super like, when it comes to like the business side and like responsibility side, like they don't have any like real world experience with like being responsible in a job because they were a fucking bedroom producer. So like when it comes to like the business side of like dealing with like a lot of these artists, it's kind of a nightmare sometimes because like they don't have real world work experience. So it's like you're literally you're taking these kids who like made a fucking banger in their bedroom, and like you said, the next year they're playing fucking EDC, and like they're like 18 years old.
Yeah,
shit
that's
like
so
that.
true. The gateway for entry is just, are you good? It's not 18 with work experience. It's just, does your shit slap on the internet? It does? Oh, okay. Like, here, come play in front of hundreds of thousands of people, and now you got to figure out how to like carry and manage yourself business-wise. Yeah, that's really interesting because their first job wasn't Polo Ralph Lauren where they had to greet people all day, where they learned like, oh man, I really appreciate what I'm doing now. Like their first job is literally, hey, you're famous.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's gotta be so annoying to work with them.
Yeah, I mean, I've done like a couple of like I've done like label work over here with the Disciple guys and stuff like that, and like just like sometimes it's just like those artists are just like they have no idea. So
what do you mean? Like what do they do?
Just like no idea of like, I mean, I don't want to like call, I don't want to
yeah,
but like
in general,
they just have no concept of like how things work, how you should act, just responsibility, like just like taxes, like
oh wait, I think we lost you there for a second.
like stuff like that when it comes to like the business side of like, it's kind of a nightmare. But so it's really interesting seeing that. Uh-oh, you're frozen.
Yeah. I just lost you for a second. I think we're good now.
Okay.
Yeah. This is what happens when you Zoom people on different parts of the world, It happens. I think people expect it by this point, what can you do?
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I don't know. At what point did you like start going from, I imagine at some point you started opening, but then you started playing in front of bigger and bigger volumes of people. You said you've played like multiple festivals. At what point was there like that first sort of big festival where you were kind of sitting there like, holy shit, this is working?
So the first big festival I played was Electric Forest. Whoa. And this was before I started MADGRRL, but I was already developing the project at this time. So I actually had music for the MADGRRL project that I've played at Evorus when I was under my other alias. And I was testing it out. But that when I played that, I didn't know that MADGRRL was like first was gonna like pop, but like I had a feeling. And then when I played that festival, and I played main stage, I played an early slot, but I was still like, okay, I have this weird feeling that this is gonna work. So then the second festival I played was literally, I launched MADGRRL in like September, October, and I got booked for a festival to play that March, and I got I got my booking, they sent them out early, obviously. So I got that booking in October, November, and I just launched it in September. Like,
oh, kind of lost you there a little bit. This East Coast, West Coast Wi-Fi be playing us. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Where's that? Where are you at?
In September. Like, okay. I just launched the project in September. Wait, is it person? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just lost you. It went on a gap. Hold up. I'm gonna wait till I can see you normally again. Because right now you're frozen you're frozen with like a thumbs up.
Great. Well, I mean, you're not frozen to me.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, yeah, as long as I can hear you, like your your train of thought is fine. It's just a matter of like hearing you at all.
Okay. So
Well,
am I still frozen?
yeah, your video is frozen, but I can hear you.
Okay. That's really weird because you're not frozen to me and I'm not frozen to me either.
What? That's so weird.
Yeah. So anyways, so what is the last thing you heard?
So you were talking about how you got booked in March and then you rolled out MADGRRL in October. So I'm guessing you used the MADGRRL brand for the show in March.
Yeah, so it was just like a really fast, like the project just got really like a lot of attention really fast because it was different. And what I was doing was not, a lot of other producers in the scene were not doing what I was doing as far as pushing genres in that specific genre of dance music. And it's kind of controversial because if you listen to my music, it's a lot of hard dance with bass music, so a lot of dubstep. And the hard dance scene is like super, super, super like elitist, like it has to be hard style or nothing.
Hard dance meaning it's at doof, 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 like 140 BPM, 150, like that fast hard style.
It's like 150, like 4 on the floor, but with like those hard style kicks, like that European like hard style.
Yeah.
With like the really like screechy synths and stuff. So it's what I was doing was a mix, which is like, I mean, a lot of my inspiration came from Keizo, which he also does the same thing. And it's a lot of hard dance with dubstep. So it's already like a controversial like project. Like the hard style kids, I got so much hate when I first started. Much hate.
What exactly were you doing? Was it like going from a dubstep drop to going into a hard dance drop?
It was like going from a hard dance drop going into a dubstep drop. Like the A section would be hardstyle, the B section would be dubstep.
Yeah, because I mean, but that seems so common now. But back then, you were saying like it wasn't.
It's not that it wasn't common. It was, well, I mean, it was very popular. I mean, it's still popular now, but like it was like kicking off back then. But the hardstyle kids just don't like it. It's like hardstyle or nothing.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, dude.
So elitist. That's so annoying. Like how dare you take our music, our genre, which is in the same BPM, and combine them?
The same, like used in the same, like made in the same program. Like, dare you? Like, no, but I mean, you know, I've gotten used to it. Like, that's just how they are. The hardstyle kids, they just don't like anything else other than hardstyle.
That's so cool.
To the fire, I was like, all right, well, if y'all are me dicks, I'm playing what I want at the hardstyle stage at EDC.
Ooh.
So like it was fun. It was kind of, you know, it was fun. Like I was like the more they talked about me on the internet, like you're just giving me more exposure. Like please start a huge thread about me on Twitter. Like please. So yeah, it was a little controversial. I think people are now like, I'm like trying to, I think right now, from my previous releases, people know like I'm like not trying to stay in the hard dance scene. Like a lot of my past releases for the past 6 months have been like more bass music catered instead of hardstyle. I of course still have hardstyle elements, like I'll have some hardstyle kicks in there. So people were like, oh yeah, there's MADGRRL. Yeah, you know, to have that signature sound still there. But like, for the most part, I'm just trying to pivot to mainly do dubstep, but still have like the hardstyle little flair in there.
Yeah.
So instead of like hardstyle with dubstep flair, it's dubstep with hardstyle flair.
And that's just like a production. That's not you mixing live on stage. You might just say "fuck it" and tear it up. But I guess production wise, it's like I kind of want to put my songs more in this angle. I think it's interesting that like dubstep has become kind of one of the lead EDM sounds now.
Right.
Like,
am I still frozen, by the way?
No, everything's good now. Everything's good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like it seems like bass music kind of won, at least for the time being. In my perspectives now, it kind of seems like hardstyle and for the floor on like a 140 BPM is really accepted, but dubstep is almost like the normal when people think of dance music now. Like before, when we were hanging out in 2013 Virginia Beach, it was all house, big room house. Dubstep was like, like sometimes, but you still liked it. But for the most part, all the big DJs were big room house, all Swedish dudes. But then somewhere along the lines, Americans were like, nah, fam, we like dubstep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just fun. And it's like, it's kind of like still like punk rock and like aggressive and like angsty, and you can get really down to it, whereas house music is like fun, but it's not like, it doesn't slap,
it's not the American spirit. Like the American spirit is rock and roll in a sense, and it is rap, and dubstep is a combination of like the rap tempo with like the American like punk rock fuck you, which I think is why it ended up winning, and it's now like the main sound, or just heavy bass music in general. It's
dope. I love it.
Yeah, well, it's so cool because you've just been championing it for so long, and it's like, haha, now it's finally caught up to your music taste.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, COVID, like, hopefully this, doesn't last. But the word on the street is that shows are not going to be coming back until the end of 2021, beginning of 2022.
Wait, the beginning of 2021, the end of...
No, the end of 2021, beginning of 2022.
Oh my God, that hurts my feelings.
Yeah, so it's been pretty difficult, to be fair. Like, I mean...
Yeah, what are DJs to do now? Because, I mean, I see you guys doing live streams and stuff, but is that... like providing a living? Is that still providing an outlet? Like how is that whole thing now? Like how's adapting to the post-COVID life?
I mean, I actually stopped doing live streams for a little bit because I just got a little burnout on them. And also the person that I was using equipment for, he had to sell CDJs because I don't have CDJs. I just have my mini little tiny dinky Pioneer controller.
Controllers. What happened to controllers?
Yeah, I have my dinky Pioneer controller, and he had to sell CDJs because of COVID.
Wow.
So, yeah, like we really tried to raise money on the streams for them, but it like wasn't enough because like CDJs are fucking expensive. One CDJ is like $2,000. Like. Oh
my God, that's not even talking about the mixer. Holy shit.
No, the mixer's like $1,000 something.
Okay.
And then, so it's like a $5,000 setup.
Yeah, I mean, it's the brain of your operations when you're playing live. I mean, it's everything.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I was doing that for a minute, but I think I'm gonna do another one soon because I haven't done it in a while. My fans are pretty engaged as well. So I probably owe it to them to do another one soon. But yeah, I mean, I started selling merch. That did pretty well. I'm probably going to do another drop soon. Nice. And just like little things like that to like make money because like we don't have any gigs.
How long can this shit last? How long can you really stop live sports, restaurants, live gigs? Like at some point there has to be a breaking point when it's like, come on, like we're choking people out here. Because right before all this, I was doing art shows. I started producing art shows for myself and other people, and I was really hitting my stride. And now when you say end of 2021, I'm like, freaking out because I'm thinking the beginning of 2021 is going to be when you get to start I'm thinking that's when you're going to be headbanging with your fans again, when I'm going to start selling art show tickets. Like that breaks my heart to hear that.
No, man, it's not going to come back for a while. And this has come from like agents like that I've talked to about this. So
because they're plugged in with who's booking and when they're booking.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
do you think a lot of DJs are going to drop off during this point? Like, do you think there's any chance you might not be able to sustain that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge chance. I mean, the bigger DJs will be fine. They already have their name. They have their money. Like, but all the smaller DJs, like, we don't have that. We don't have that money. We don't have that platform. So, like, the fact we need to keep momentum in order for this to, like, in order for our careers to move forward as a DJ and for you to start getting booked more and start, like, going up in the ladder, you need momentum. And you do this through releases, but also through gigs and through just networking with, like, promoters and, like, agents and et cetera. That's just how it works. So when you gain that momentum, it comes and it will come for you. But we don't have any of that anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, we can release music, but like no one's playing it at festivals. No one's playing it at all these gigs. It's not, that's how music gets popular. DJs, they get sent dub plates. DJs send other DJs music, and then they start getting played at festivals and these shows, and that's how they get popular. Fans take videos of them, post them, like, and everyone is like, oh yeah, that track, da da da. Like, that's how it really, like, escalates, and that culture is not there anymore. So we can release all the fucking music we want right now, but, like, who's playing it? No one.
Yeah, because
where are the fans hearing it?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's about the live show. Like, it's about that live show connection with the fans and with that whole event. Music, especially EDM, is meant to be played and listened in a public setting. Like, to take that away is taking the Achilles heel off of everyone. It's insane. It's honestly insane to me. It's nuts.
Yeah. So, I mean, we still have online streaming. Like, the fans can still listen on Spotify, YouTube, whatever. But it's not the same. It's not the same.
Well, even the live streams, they're awesome, but it's still not the same. Because they're, like, at home? It's like we are sitting in their computer chair, probably, maybe drinking or smoking or whatever. But it's still not that energy of being next to your homies, It's still not that.
Nope.
I mean, and, as someone who's involved in the art world has tried to think of ways to survive as well. And they started doing virtual art shows. Oh my God, those things are pathetic. It's like, it's like scrolling on a low resolution Tumblr and then asking someone to spend $3,000 to buy a piece of artwork based off of, like, a 16-bit image. It's so sad, like I'd say it's worse than, trying to be a DJ and get that live stream connection, but they both depend on the in-person visual gathering aspect of it all. Yeah, it's not fun for anyone, but I've been it's been really hard for me to like do anything music related, to be honest. Like, I mean, I had the mix pretty much completed that I need to put out. And I've been saying I have the mix. I need to put it out for like weeks. Oof.
For like weeks. But, like, it's like one of those things where it's like there's just, like, some EQing stuff that I need to do, and I'm just like, it's hard for me to do it because I'm just like, not that I'm not motivated. It's just like, it's just hard. Like, I don't know. I can't explain it. It's just, like, really hard, like, for me right now with everything going on. Like,
yeah, I mean, I'd be unmotivated as fuck. Like, the fact that you can't make that track and then go play it out. Like, usually that's how it works. You make that track, you go play it out, see the response, go home, work on it some more. Like, that excitement, I guess, is a little gone right there. So it's kind of like, why work on this new stuff?
Yeah. And it's like, it's just very, like, it's hard. So I need to finish that. And then, I've been, like, I picked up a new hobby during quarantine, which is riding a motorcycle.
No way. You out and got a motorcycle?
Yeah.
That's so sick. I got a Vespa during quarantine.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I've got a yellow
How many-
Vespa.
How many cc's is it?
It's only 50cc.
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes they're like 200cc.
Oh yeah, well I got the 50cc one because in DC it like lets me be under the legal, laws and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And plus I don't ever need to go faster than 35. But
Yeah.
I feel like in LA you kind of need a faster whip.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, mine's not that fast. Mine's only 250cc.
That's fast as shit. Look at the helmet back
No,
there
it's
too.
not.
Dang.
I got a Kawasaki Ninja 250R. Yeah, it's dope.
That seems very fitting.
Yeah, and it goes with my brand as well. So I was like, I'm really excited to like when I get like LEDs on it and shit. I'm gonna do like underglow, do like some shots and do some shoots with it. But yeah, it's super dope. So that's been taking up a lot of my time because you need to practice.
Oh yeah, I know exactly. I mean, look, I'm only going to like 35, but I would still, now I'm good, but I would still be getting anxiety riding down the road. Like it kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I used to have a scooter back in the day too. When I was dating Spencer, he had a motorcycle, and he was like, "You should get a scooter," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So then, like, we would ride together, and then one day I crashed. I was like, "Okay, I'm done here." But yeah, so scooters are fun though.
Yeah, have you been going any cool places with? Like, have you been going to parks or just taking rides and stuff?
Yeah, so like LA is the best place to have a motorcycle. Because the weather is amazing all year round. There's no rain. It's so nice all year round, and the views are just fucking amazing. So like here, the best riding is to go through the canyons. So we have like the Malibu canyons. We have like if you go, I forget what all the canyons are called, but there's just canyons everywhere, and they're just like really windy roads in the mountains, and like it's just beautiful scenes just like all around you. There's also Pacific Coast Highway, which is PCH for short, where it goes up all of the West Coast, and it's like literally on the coast. So like to the left of you is the Pacific Ocean. That's all you see, and then to the right is like the land. So it's like mountains and shit. So like going down the PCH, you're just like you look to the left and it's just like all ocean. It's so sick.
What color is your Ninja?
It is green, lime green.
That matches the purple. Okay, I guess there's some good color contrasting there, the purple with the green.
Yeah, everyone's like, you should have got a purple one. I was like, that's too much. Like, I can get a purple Ninja. Like, that would have been like overkill.
That's the classic Ninja look right there. I can't wait for things to be back in session. I can imagine you pulling up to the gig on your freaking Ninja, parking it like out front, just getting out, like just looking straight fucking cool and just going rocking the crowd. That sounds,
I can't wait to ride my motorcycle to an LA gig.
Dude,
actually, no, to be fair, probably not, because I would be drinking.
Oh, true. Okay, wait, there's something I wanted to bring up, which I thought was just put a smile on my face.
Okay.
You did a Cruella remix.
Uh-huh.
I know how much Cruella means to you. Like, I remember you introduced me to Cruella. I remember the early days of Cruella, and like you were one of the biggest fans of them, like the biggest like supporters of them. And I feel like I always looked at it like you were a girl in the industry and they were some of the first girls in the EDM industry. So for you to get the Cruella remix, for me, it looked like it was like, oh my God, full circle moment. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. It really was a full circle moment.
I remember those moments being in the car blasting like, what does it, Feel Alive? Oh, I know.
Oh yeah, that one.
I mean, you're in the industry now, so I guess talking about the specifics of that band might not be the smartest, but they had so much promise, and then they just sort of collapsed on themselves.
Well, I mean, they split up with Chris, so I mean that was really hard on them, and it kind of just. I don't think they were able to get really back into like because they were like killing it like with the festivals and stuff. I don't think they were they were really able to get back into it until all that kind of died down, because it was just, but I think they're like fine now. Like they're not really like playing that many US stuff, but like they're very popular in the rest of the world. Like they're very popular in South America, like, and those festivals out there are massive.
Are there festivals going on in other parts of the world right now, or are they just as locked down?
There's not huge festivals like going on, but there's like drive-in festivals going on. Like there's a festival in Belgium called Rampage that they just had a drive-in festival.
Oh my God, that's so depressing.
Yeah, but they have Rampage like a couple times in the year, and it's like one of the world's biggest dubstep and drum and bass festivals ever. And they're having, they might have one this fall, because Europe is like way ahead of America.
Yeah, are you kidding me? There's like some places where there's literally no cases.
Yeah, like New Zealand.
Yeah, well,
New Zealand is having shows. Like I saw like 2 nights ago, Quix. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He is from New Zealand, and he was posting photos. He was like, last night was the best night of my life. I'm so fucking happy and thankful that I'm able to live in a country where we had literally no cases, like, and have been so smart about everything. Because New Zealand is just a tiny little fucking island, they just like blocked out everyone. They're like, fuck you guys.
They did.
We're not getting that shit. So y'all, we can back the fuck up. But he was playing shows, like, and it was sold the fuck out.
Oh my God. I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
I forget what a live show even feels like. Oh my gosh.
I know. It's crazy.
People are going to value them so much more. I feel like when it's all said and done, everyone's going to, like, the resurgence of everything is going to be insane.
Yeah.
Like for the people who survived, for the DJs and producers like yourself, who I'm hoping survive the next 6 months, 8 months, whatever it takes,
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be insane, but,
Do you think you're going to move out of LA because of all this, or you think you're going to try and just stick it through?
I'm going to try and stick it through. There's a couple of times where I've been like, I just need to move home. Like, I just need to move back. Like,
oh, wow.
But, like, I've worked so hard to get here. I'm like, this is fucked up. I'm not going to let some stupid-ass fucking virus, like, ruin my shit. Like, like, it just sucks.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It would feel so wrong. It would feel... wrong to just go home and be back at base camp. But I don't think there's any shame for anyone, no matter what creative industry you're in, because this was so out of our control, which is the freaky part.
Yeah, I mean, it's not shame. Like, that's one thing that you can, like, think about and have a little bit of, like, okay, well, I'm not the only one going through this. Literally everyone's going through this, and this is out of my control.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of comfort in that, but it still fucking sucks,
Dude, it's so nuts. I mean, thinking about the live music genre, that was the craziest part for me. What are people going to do? And now there's like a mass exodus of people leaving LA, leaving New York. They're all coming to DC. They're all going to Texas.
God.
You don't want to go to Texas?
No. Aren't there like mad cases there?
No, well, people are going to Texas because they're like letting people have events. They're letting people go to restaurants and go to dinner and have comedy shows and stuff like that. It's like why Joe Rogan's moving there.
I just took a photo of you, and it has a wait. Hold on, can you see this? Wait, let me save this before I accidentally delete it.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Stop texting. You have a little filter on.
Did you put a kawaii filter on me? First of all, why are you on your phone during a podcast interview? Show some respect, woman. Show some respect over here.
I was trying to sneak a photo of you, but it wasn't working. I was trying to open up my Instagram, but it was like not working. I was like, fuck, open. Okay, that's funny. I had to post that. I'm posting that.
Okay,
what's
fine.
Your Instagram?
It's @Brusan. Don't do this. We're on air. We're recording. You're on your phone.
Okay. I'll
See,
say
guys,
it.
this is what happens when you record with your friends. They treat you like your friends, not the distinguished podcast host that you are.
Podcasts are done technically,
Huh?
like podcasts are done technically through computers. I feel like having a phone is like the same.
What, you're supposed to be engaged in conversation. Deep
I
balls
have.
deep. But you are right. I do appreciate you doing that because I always forget to do that while I'm talking. That's like a good idea to like get some
Yeah,
promo.
I always do that actually. When I'm on like videos with people, I always take photos.
So who are you looking at now? Like like are there any DJ producers that you're looking at thinking their shit sounds crazy in a good way? Like when you think about like Lil Texas, I noticed that you saw him, and I think Lil Texas has one of the craziest sounds right now.
No. Oh, like as far as like producing wise?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean Sam is fucking great. He is amazing.
he's gone. Sam.
We're really good friends. And we kind of like came up together in the scene with hard dance. We started the same exact time and started releasing music the same exact time.
Oh wow!
Because he before was doing, he has had Little Texas for a really long time, that project. But before he was doing Jersey Club for years. I mean, he was going on tour with like Flostradamus and like releasing on Dim Mak, and like, I mean, me and him have known each other for a while, just through the scene here in LA. But he started doing hardcore literally the same time that I launched MADGRRL. So we were like, that Spider-Man meme, like
We're looking at each other.
Yeah, that's how it was for us. And then so people like saw us as like artists that were pushing the limits in America for hard dance. People like, obviously the hard dance kids loved Little Texas because he was doing hardcore, and they love hardcore. So
Hardcore being the insanely
200 BPM, sometimes 5,000 BPM.
That is insane. I love to freak my friends out with this music.
Freak your friends out?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I'm like, oh, let's put this song on, because I got some normie ass friends. I'm like, oh yeah, what do you put on? I'll put on Little Texas.
Really?
They freak out. They're like, what is this shit? And then they like it, but it's extreme to people that aren't in the scene when they hear hardcore, when they hear like heavy dance. It's nuts to them.
I guess so, huh?
Like it's just normal. It's normal to hear something that's like 190 BPM here, like Texas,
that's true.
like 200. But even when I first heard it just randomly on SoundCloud, I was like, what the fuck am I listening to? This is insane. Like whoever made this is on speed. And then I looked at Lil Texas and I was like, he might be on speed. You don't have to.
I saw him. Then I saw what he looked like, and I'm like, oh.
I was like, oh, he's a hardcore deathcore cowboy. What? This is the craziest brand I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, he is fucking crazy.
And then he does like the gayest shit, which I think is hilarious on top of that. So it's like the cowboy hat with his ass out, and I'm just like, this dude is the best.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
Oh my god! Did you see that photo he just posted where it's like a back shot?
I saw it.
And he's got the butt section as his face mask, and he's doing it in the mirror, so you see his ass out, but he's got the face.
I saw that shit. I was like, no, he did it.
This dude has the best content.
Oh god, he's ridiculous. He's great though. He's an angel.
Yeah, I love that. I love people like that. Personally, dude, Keizo's music has been really insane to me. Like
recently, or like before, like recent, or like
I guess like his last album and his recent stuff, just the whole emo rock crossover. I mean, it might, like I said, like it might feel normal to you, but for it to reach people like me and that's over here, it was I think he nailed it.
Yeah. I mean, that's super cool to me. And like, it's cool to see those bands. You're like, I love that band.
Like an Under Oath. He did a song with Under Oath. What the fuck?
Dude, I fucking met Aaron at EDC.
Wow.
Because so Aaron is the drummer, for those of you who don't know, of Under Oath, which is a band that I'm like, I fucking love this band, and it's been one of my favorite bands forever. And he did a collab with Keizo, and then he did a collab with Rez, and this track I think it maybe was about to come out or had just come out around EDC. And I was in the artist lounge and I was with one of my friends and we were just chilling, eating food. This is at EDC. And my friend, who also is really into that music, was like, okay, so don't freak out. But Aaron from Under Oath is like right over there. And I'm like, what? So I look and he's just sitting, eating and drinking, like, I don't think he was drinking alcohol, he was drinking like water. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was just so confused. I was like, why is he here?
Did you fangirl? I feel like you would never fangirl, but I feel like this is the one moment where you probably fangirled just a little bit.
No, I mean, I was like inside, but I didn't want to. I was like, okay, play it cool.
Yeah, you gotta play it cool right there.
I was like, so I just went up to him and I was like, I really love you. I was kind of drunk, to be fair. I was kind of drunk, but I literally told him I loved him. And he was like, thank you.
I am so mad. I am so mad you had to play it that cool. Like, I get you have to play it cool, but like, that is our growing up. That is our Vans Warped Tour in the summer. Like, that was the band. That was like one of the coolest guys. He sang and played drums. Like, one of the hardest things to do. Some of the best songs, and it all chalks up to you being like, I love you.
I was also very like drunk and also like wanted to play it cool and didn't know what to say. So that was like the first thing that came to mind. And like, I knew I had to play it cool. So it just came out like that. Like, you know what? I love you.
I mean, hey, I don't blame you. I would have tried my best to do the same thing in the exact situation, but just like, I would have fangirl. Like, I don't know. I feel like if I met Deadmau5, I'd try my hardest not to fanboy, but it would probably happen. He'd
probably be like, please fuck off.
Yeah, I'd be like, thank you. Thank you, Joel. I wanted that. I knew
you
were going to react like, I was like, you noticed me, senpai. All right, we're good.
Oh, man. That's funny. Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, generally speaking, like, you know, I'm really proud of you. Like, I'm really like happy to see how far you've come, even though we're dealing with this Corona bullshit. I'm sure after it's all said and done, you're still going to be trucking. Like, it's good to see how far you've come just from Virginia Beach, from Woodbridge. Like, out of everyone I've seen make the move to LA, you've gone the furthest.
Thank you. It hasn't been easy, but it's, you know, proven that if you want to do what you want to do, like, you could literally do whatever the fuck you want if you just literally just do it. It's like, go for it, you know?
I feel like we're coming to a close here, but real quick, any advice for aspiring DJ producers who are thinking of making that move? Like, you know, I feel like if you're that producer, that DJ, you're thinking to yourself, do I make the leap to LA? Do I move to New York? But especially LA, like the dance capital, like, is it still worth their time? What should they do? What would you tell them from your perspective?
Well, wait till all this shit is over. So wait till coronavirus is over and like everything opens up before your ass is traveling anywhere or like moving to a new city where there's no gigs. But once this is all over, so 20, 21, 22, whatever that may be, I mean, just don't be afraid, because fear will fucking just like ruin it. Like, I mean, everyone has a little bit of fear, but like, don't let that be the roadblock. Don't let that be the bottleneck of like your dreams and, you know, moving forward. Just like do it, man. Like, that's literally the only advice that I can really give. Like, just do it. Put yourself out there. Like, follow like your main path. Like, really like go by your gut, and like don't like let other people also like tell you what not to do. Because unless it's like it just really depends. But for the most part, I feel like people like were telling me, no, don't move to LA. No, like you shouldn't do this. No, you shouldn't do that. But like I really knew like deep down that's really what I needed to do and what I wanted to do. So I just fucking did it, and like, you know, I just like was like, all right, well, look, I did it, so fuck y'all, you know. And as far as like getting your teeth into the industry and like growing, just like network and shit, like, and you meet as many people as you can. Take as many notes as you can. I know that sounds like really like dumb, but like really study like other, like as far as producers and DJs, like really study like other people's work and like their workflow and like just in general, like if you can watch tutorials, that really helps me as well. There's tutorials on how to produce, there's tutorials on how to DJ.
Do you think it's worth it for someone to make the move to a place where there's a lot more creatives, or should they try and stick it out in their bedroom and just create and try and build the brand that way?
I really see. I find like it's like a mixed opinion in that, because I know a lot of producers that have done both, like, and like different producers that have done one. They've built businesses. They're both are successful.
I'm not gonna lie, I heard very little of that because the connection just got incredibly shitty right then. But I am going to hope it was good on your end, in that the recording is fine. Like I'm just hoping that the points where I lost you, the recording is fine. So I've probably been acting at points where you think I'm like listening, but I've never had such bad connection during a Zoom call. So
that's really weird because you're fine on my end.
Really?
Yeah, like it's completely fine on my end. Like it's not. It just seems like it's taking a long time for you to respond.
Oh yeah, see that's me dealing with this lag or whatever it is.
Yeah, but it's not like glitch or anything. It's like black and white. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so weird.
Completely fine on my end.
Oh, I have no idea what's going on. But I think we should put a nail in the coffin here and sign off on this one. Sabrina, MAADGRRL, it was so cool to like catch up and chat with you, like, and see your face. I'm just gonna sign this one off. I wish I could have an emotional ending with you. I really want to, but I can't because it's all fucked up. So guys, that's it. That's the angle. We'll have to talk off cam. Peace.